r/entitled parents. Entitled mother decides recovering surgery patient isn't disabled enough for an electronic shopping cart. I never really thought of this event as an EP kinda story, so I didn't think to share it before, but the event has been on my mind more recently as I'm coming up on 1 year later, so I might as well share it and let the subreddit decide. As I said, this happened almost 1 year ago. I had a very invasive surgery and was handling recovery pretty well, but I was still restricted on a lot of things. The surgery was a hysterectomy, and being where that surgery was located, I could easily hide the scars with an overshirt, which I was doing. I was able to walk pretty decently, but I was also dealing with a lot of side effects of hormone changes because of this procedure. Some of the effects involved waking up with my legs covered in painful bruises, and a fainting spell that led to an ER visit. If I didn't flare up these problems, I would look completely normal on the outside. This was a couple of weeks into my healing, and my mother asked me to walk to the store to pick up our prescriptions after work. I was heading that way anyway, so I veered off and just walked to the store. Walking there was fine, but once I slowed down for a break as I entered, I realized that my body was starting to develop some pain. There were still bruises on my legs, and my abdomen was aching. It was going to be a quick visit, but not a visit I wanted to feel pain for. So I checked the electronic cart scooters and found one that had some charge to it. People, please plug them in when you're done with them. It was my first time ever having to use one, so I was already feeling pretty awkward and embarrassed. I just thought I'd get it over with quickly and leave again. I wasn't visibly handicapped, and I'm not a large person. I'm also very young, only in my early 20s, so I probably get how it looked to a lot of people, but most didn't ask about it. I knew some people looked at me curiously, but I kept telling myself I'm healing from an intense surgery, I have a right to use a mobility assistance device, I'm not being a jerk right now, I'll be quick anyway. Along the way, I passed one of the food aisles and stopped to consider getting the family some dinner for the night. I mean, I was already at the store anyway. When I backed the cart up, it started to beep, and that instantly made me feel ashamed once again. People were looking again, I was apologizing in my head and hoped nobody would question it once more. Back up, turn, enter the aisle, all was fine. There were some other people there as well, but I didn't acknowledge them. I just wanted to get the spaghetti and go. The pack I wanted was just out of reach, so I picked myself up and stood for a few moments to grab it and sit back down. That seemed to have caught the attention of the kid in the aisle, with that looked to be a mom and grandmother. I heard the kid say something along the lines of "Look, she's driving a cart," and urging the mom to look. They were blocking the way forward out, and my only option was to back up again. With how loud the beeping was, I was not exactly ready to back up once more, so I just decided to wait for them to leave and I would U-turn down the next aisle and head to the pharmacy. The mom ignored me at first, and the grandmother seemed entirely uninterested. The kid pushed for her to look again, and the mother finally did after she put something in her basket. The way she looked at me was a mix of confusion and disgust. This did happen a long time ago, so my memory is fuzzy on what the grandmother looked like, or how expressive the mother was. I was currently feeling a lot of anxiety anyway, so I could have been mentally heightening her stare, but I do know, she was looking at me with a face that said, "What are you doing?" I tried to turn away and pretend I didn't see her, but it became very difficult when she approached. I apologize if this isn't very descriptive, I have to paraphrase because my memory is rather foggy. "EP, excuse me, are you allowed to use that cart?" Me, yeah, I think so. They're available to take in the front. EP, you specifically? You do know they're not for joyriding. Me, yes, I know, I need one right now. EP, I don't see anything wrong with you. You need to get up and put it away. I'm so tired of entitled kids like you thinking you can use a disability device because your feet hurt. What if she needed it? She gestures to the grandmother standing nearby in silence, and couldn't because someone like you is playing with it? Me, I know what you mean, but I'm not, I really do need it. I had a surgery and I'm in a lot of pain right now. I'm not going to be long. EP, if you had a surgery, you should be at home. Do you think I believe that? I don't see any marks on you. Me, what? I have a job, I can't be at home for weeks at a time anyway, I need to do shopping too. EP, no, you need to get up. From here, she goes to pull my arm, and the moment she grabbed me, I instinctively ripped myself backward. This caused me to hit against the shelf behind me, but that didn't hurt as much as the sudden jerking movement caused against my incisions. She clearly got even more angry at my refusal and went to grab again. Again, I reeled back, only for her to get a hold on me the third time. I remember her child said something at this point, but I don't remember what it was. He was clearly very upset, but I was too preoccupied to notice or recall it. The situation was escalating into a sort of yelling match. This day though, I had an angel watching over me. See, there was a reason my family really likes this store. When I was in high school, I made friends with someone, and he was an employee there. We visit the store all the time so we can see him, even choosing to use the store pharmacy instead of a pharmacy center. I didn't remember his schedule very well since it was always changing, but he was usually on stocking shelves. My miracle happened when I saw him walk into the aisle. A scraggly-looking young man with messy hair, a store uniform, and eyes way too tired for whatever this was. I had told him over text about my surgery so he had a vague idea. Before him, or even I said anything, this random woman was already letting go to turn to my friend and spouting a bunch of nonsense about me being an entitled brat, and suddenly her mother was needing the cart. He let her talk until she wore herself out, he didn't get paid enough for this stuff. He later on texted me after I left that she was so loud that he couldn't even hear what she was saying, so he was mentally drifting off. He only came to investigate because he heard something hit the aisle, followed by yelling. Way more people were trying to be nosy and peek in on the situation, and after she was done with the nonsense, he looked at me. Friend, what's going on? Me, I'm just trying to do some shopping and pick up something from the pharmacy. I just got off work, I want to go home. Friend, alright, I'll talk to you later then, enjoy your dinner. EP, what? Why are you letting her get away with that? You damn millennials should have been bullied more in school, what makes you think this is okay? Me, I told you already, I need this. Friend, she just had a surgery recently. EP, and I don't see any proof. What was the surgery? That cart is for handicapped people only, not for young kids to baby themselves. I was wanting to cry right then, I didn't know what to do. While she was talking, I pulled out my phone to send a quick text to my mother to come to the store and help me. I almost considered showing my surgery scars, but I wasn't comfortable lifting my shirt like that. I did feel a slight liquid on my skin after the pulling, but it was very small, so if a stitch popped and I was bleeding, at least it wasn't an emergency. Then I remembered my legs. Since my legs were this sore, I could be sure that my bruises probably made an appearance. I lifted up my pant leg to check, and sure enough, my legs were covered in very small, but very thick bruises, looking a lot like spots. Me, excuse me, could you look at this? This is a side effect of my surgery. EP, what is that? Me, my legs right now are covered in very painful bruises because the surgery made my bones brittle during the healing. I just worked all day, then walked here. EP, that sounds like a damn lie, I've never heard of a surgery that does that. Friend, it's true, she had to go to urgent care, and even had a fainting spell not too long ago. I wasn't here for it, but they had to call an ambulance. Of course I fainted where he worked, I had to tell him everything and complain he missed it because it was his day off. The EP went silent for a moment, then looked at me. EP, doesn't look like it right now, so you clearly don't need the scooter anymore. What would your parents think about this behavior? Friend, please leave her alone or I'll have to get my boss, she has a right to the carts. EP, fine, get your boss, I'm not moving, this is what's wrong with the world. From there, he pulled out a radio and stepped away to page someone. The entire time, the EP was muttering very cruel things about me under her breath. While he was gone, who else would appear but my mother? It was a long walk for me to the store, but a quick drive for her. She originally didn't want to drive anywhere because she was in the middle of a show and I could handle myself fine, so she was already annoyed she had to leave for petty drama. It wasn't exactly hard to find us after she noticed my friends standing by the end caps. The moment she stepped up and saw us, she flew into protective mode. Mother, what's going on here? Why are you bothering up? EP, is this your kid? She's been extremely disrespectful and stealing the electric scooters from people that need them. Me, but I'm not. I need it right now. I looked to my mother for help, and she seemed to understand the situation. Although I'd never used one before, I had been complaining of a lot of pain for days prior to this. Mother, what gives you the right to harass up? I asked her to come here. If her incisions are hurting, why is it your business? EP, what it looks like to me is another entitled millennial getting handed everything and now she thinks she can take from the disabled. Mother, Op had a hysterectomy only a few weeks ago, she's still trying to walk normally again, so yes, I believe she does need it right now. Friend, as he returns, the manager is on his way. He's busy right now. My mother directed me to leave and pick up our pills, and she would handle the situation for me. I was almost near tears, and in some incredible pain, even more than before, but I did as she said. The grandmother moved aside when I directed the cart forward. She didn't say anything to me, and I didn't look at her, but the way she moved felt like she wasn't angry at me, or upset at all. She was a very frail, tiny woman, so I didn't blame her for the event at all or for not stopping the EP. The entire time, the child was quiet as well and just watched the situation like it was a show. Once they were out of sight and I was in the pharmacy line, I lifted up my shirt to see how I was doing. Sadly, a stitch did pop, but I was only leaking fluid, no blood. I got the pills, and waited until my mother rejoined me. Me, what happened with her? Mother, the manager had to de-escalate, but it's all right now. Me, what did he say? Mother, it's not up to anyone to decide who's impaired enough basically. If you are having issues, that's what they're there for. She got pissed off and tried to start up another fight but he wasn't having it. Me, awesome. Sorry for making you come over. Mother, it's like a 5-minute drive. I'm annoyed I had to pause my show but whatever. You ready to go? I didn't see her as I was leaving, but when I was done with the cart, I backed it into its spot, and plugged it in for good measure, yet I'm still annoyed about that. My mother helped me walk to the car. My legs were shaking, and I had to use my free arm to hold my torso, but from there I got home just fine. At the time I didn't think it was an entitled parent story because the child was barely in the situation, and she wasn't nowhere near as insane as some other parents here, but technically she was a parent. I still don't know who she was and I've never seen her again. My friend almost entirely forgot the incident. When I tried to mention it, he says he deals with crazies all the time in retail and he was running on almost no sleep that day, so there's that. Before I was healed I went to the store a few more times, but I never touched the carts again, that was too scary for my nerves. I just grabbed what I needed and left with no pit stops, and used benches if I needed to rest.